Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Amy. I'm having some lighting issues in my office today, so it's a little dark, but happy to have you back. And I have a question today from Carla, and it's about envy and jealousy. So let me find her question here and I'll read it. So Carla says, I have a very good close friend who's 6 months pregnant, and I really want to be happy for her. But every time I see her, I have all these feelings of envy. As she's now going through something I think it's unlikely I'll ever get to experience. And she says in parentheses, she's 36 and anxiety has had her pretty housebound and therefore single. I seem to have spent my whole life watching people do things I haven't been able to do, and this one has hit me really hard. I know the thoughts are creating the feelings, but when I'm with her or in contact with her, the thoughts and feelings are so intense that I often have to leave the room to cry, or because I can't stand hearing her talk all about the pregnancy. I've pulled away from her, haven't spent much time with her in over 3 months, as seeing her and messaging her makes this worse and feels pretty unbearable at times, although we work together, so I do see her a couple times a week. I've spoken to her about how I'm feeling a bit, and she understands, but I'm worried that I won't get over this by the time the baby comes, and that if I keep pushing her away, at some point I'll lose the friendship. I really want to be able to see something around this that will stop me from destroying my friendship, but when the thoughts and feelings hit, they seem to take over, and honestly, I act like a bit of a bitch toward her. In an ideal world, I would be happy for her, and maybe even an unofficial auntie figure in the child's life, but I'm not sure how to get there, as I find it hard to even look at her in the moment. So Carla, I so feel for you. And first, I just want to say again, always, this is always the case for everyone listening. This isn't about wanting to be pregnant and being envious of a person who's pregnant necessarily. Like, this question is there's so much in this, and it's so human, and it's so something that we've all felt and gone through with our own details subbed in, our own little specifics. But what's just beneath it is you're seeing your friend, you want to feel differently, but every time you see her, these thoughts and feelings just come up and they seem to just take over, and your logical mind, your wise mind, your heart knows, I don't want to feel like this. This isn't about her, and I want to be able to set all these feelings aside so I can have this better relationship with her. But at the same time, we're human beings and we can't control what we feel. We just feel what we feel. And you're doing the absolute best you can, Carla. It's so obvious in what you say, that you're doing the absolute best you can to be there and to keep this friendship intact the way that you want it to be, or the way you think it should look, or just the way you hope it would look. But that's not always easy. It isn't. So the first thing I would say to you is that clearly, this is a chance. This might not feel like good news as I say this, but it's a chance for you to really see, wow, thought and feeling is there. I didn't put it there. It's not wrong that you feel this way at all. It's not wrong that you want what you want. It's not wrong that you fear you might not have it. It's not necessarily accurate, but it's not wrong that you fear that you might not have it. And given how things look to you, Carla, given that you're worried that you'll never have this and you really want it, and it looks to you, like you say, you will spend your whole life watching other people get things that you want. Given that whole way that this is showing up and looking to you, no wonder you feel the way you feel. Of course you do. So that's the first thing I want you to see, is just have some compassion for yourself and see, yeah, it is hard, and don't try to chase it away if you can help it. Like see, okay, maybe this is just something I need to just feel and go through. This is something you need to grieve. And I don't want to say grieve as in you'll never have children of your own, because I think that's crazy. I think who knows what's going to happen. We don't know that at all. It's a complete unknown right now. Your mind is saying, not likely, probably not going to happen, not fair, everyone else gets it. That's what your mind is saying about it. And that's contributing to how it feels. But we don't know. There's so many ways this could change for you. We have no idea, no clue. So remember that. I know you know that. Obviously, we know that we can't really predict the future, but man, a mind is really cunning and really, really compelling in how it comes in and tells us what's likely for us and what's not likely for us, and the imaginary statistics it'll bring to the case, and the imaginary facts and the imaginary science of how, this isn't going to happen or this is going to happen. It's all made up. We do not know. When your mind is painting a picture of your future, by definition, that is your imagination at work, because that is not happening. The picture that you're painting is not playing out in this very moment. Right now, in this very moment, Carla, as a 36-year-old woman, like, you're not pregnant. Okay. You don't have a baby. Okay. Says zero about the future. And man, our mind will convince us, yes, it does, but no, it doesn't. It has to be our imagination. Has to be. When we're worrying and projecting images and thinking about something that is out into the future, it is our imagination. So remember that. So when I say grieve it, like, feel it and let yourself grieve it, in a sense, I'm not saying, grieve the fact that you may never have kids. Like, just feel what you're feeling. Like, it's hard. It's hard for you to have been housebound for so long and to be struggling with anxiety. It's hard to have other people having things and for us to be left thinking, not fair. I want that. How come they get it and I don't? Like, that's hard, and that's okay. It's human. It's normal. So I really have this sense for you and for everyone, because our experience tends to work this way, that if you can kind of just let yourself feel it without the judgment, without trying to change it, without, set aside the worry of, oh, this is going on too long and I have to get my stuff together while she's still pregnant and I don't want to lose the relationship. That's a bunch of worry, again, that your mind is bringing to the party, and it's making it a lot harder. Because when we get in that place, when we're trying to control how we feel, in a sense of like, hurry up and get over this, or hurry up and be okay with this, it always backfires. Always. It leads to exactly what you're saying, Carla, where you get around her and then you have to leave the room and cry. Because, I don't mean this as literally as I'm saying it, but when we don't just let ourselves cry when we feel like crying, you're going to cry at some point or another. Like, nature says, all right, you're going to hold me back and hold me back. You can't do that for long. So again, I don't mean that literally about crying, but I mean just in the bigger sense, letting yourself feel the disappointment, the grieving, the frustration, the stuff that you feel around this, that not only is going to help you feel so much better, but it will actually get you closer to where you want to be with this friendship than stuffing it down and holding it back and trying to change how you feel. No question. No question. And again, just notice how your mind has you on a timetable. Notice how your mind is telling you what's likely for you, what's likely for this friendship. If this continues, then that's going to happen. No, we're just here right now. It's just Monday. I mean, it's just October 29th. It's just a day. Like, everything beyond that is a mind just wanting to fill in blanks. And that's just what they do. But we want to remember that that's what they do and really see that. Like, we remember and then we gloss over it. Yeah, I know that. I know how minds work. But still, no, it's not but still. But really, we don't know the future, and it's okay to feel what you feel. I had an experience with this. I had a lot of trouble getting pregnant for several years. And at that time in my life, I worked downtown Chicago next to this hospital that was like this amazing hospital for women giving birth. So I would literally like walk out of my office to go to lunch every day, and the hospital was right there, and like the little area of the hospital where those women had their appointments was right there. So it was felt like the universe was just playing this awful cruel joke on me, because I was so in my head about why isn't it happening and when's it going to happen and what if it doesn't happen. And then every single day I was like smack dab into like huge pregnant women, and I hated them. I did. I hated them. I was so angry at them and so jealous, and it didn't seem fair. I'm not putting this on you, Carla, by the way, saying that you're feeling this way. It's just your question brought up my memories, and that's how it felt for me. I was pissed. I was mad. I was angry. And I just carried that around for a long time and did all kinds of unhealthy things to feel it rather than actually feel it. And I remember at some point having some kind of little insight where I was in the lobby of my building that I worked in, laughing with some coworkers. I mean, in a moment, now I didn't know all this. I didn't really think much about how my mind worked then, but um, like I was fine in that moment and I was just laughing with them and there was not a problem in the world. Nothing was wrong. And then I walked out of the office and ran into a 9-month pregnant lady and instantly just felt that shift. And for whatever reason, whatever little miracle transpired in that moment, I saw and knew deeply in a way that was really meaningful to me, she didn't do this. And none of her little pregnant friends over there are doing it either. Like my mind was just free and relaxed and I was laughing with my friends. And then boom, this old thing came up and it didn't, in that moment, it didn't look like, oh, this is because I'm not pregnant and I should be by now. It didn't look like that. I knew, somehow I knew and felt in that moment, oh, this is a thought. This is my mind. It's like any little knee-jerk reaction that we have. It's like that. It's like someone jumps out and startles you and you scream. It's like that. Like I would run into these pregnant women and I would do my version of screaming, which would be my mind saying, I hate you, not fair. Why not me? But I saw it as a reflex in that way. I saw that it had nothing to do with them. And I even saw somehow that it had nothing to do with me in my future. Like I was saying earlier here to you, Carla, like I saw, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm next. Who knows? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll adopt. Who the heck knows? But it all looked so much more open in that moment. Now, didn't necessarily stay there. I'm sure it kind of closed down around it, but that little moment did something for me. And I just remember thinking, okay, I might not like working here. I might still think it's unfair and not fun that I have to run into all these pregnant ladies, but they aren't doing that to me. And I just think that's a nice thing to see. You know, I don't want to put pressure on you again, Carla, because I can hear and feel you going to, how do I feel better around her? How do I make myself feel good around her? You don't. You don't. You just cry when you feel like crying and you run out of the room and you avoid her when you feel like avoiding her. And you leave some space and some ease around that. And that's what gives it room to change, because it's not her. You know it's not her. It's a thought within you that comes up, and it's not even a true thought. It's a worry. It's a fear within you that comes up. That's it. And seeing it like that, again, it just opens things up and gives it so much space and room. So I hope that's helpful. And again, I hope it's helpful to anyone, no matter what you're dealing with. It may not be, you know, probably isn't this exact situation, but there's always stuff like that. We always have something like this. So, I mean, I love this question because it's so, even though it's specific, it's so relatable for all of us. If we just back up and put our own conditions in there, we can all feel this and see how this plays out for us. And thank you for sending it, Carla. And thanks everyone for listening. And send your questions to AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com. Some great questions on deck coming up in future weeks, but send your questions about anything. Again, if it's something like this, if it's a feeling, emotion, a thought, something you can't seem to move past, if it's a habit, if it's even just broader. I love those questions too, of like, well, how does this understanding work here? Or how would it apply over there? All extremely helpful. So thanks so much, guys, for listening, and I'll see you next Monday.